So switching gears now, I want to talk a bit about just different channels, and obviously, retail is an important channel, but Oatly went big into cafes, right, as a starting point. So can you talk about the decision making around that and how that has been an important way for you to enter the market?
Sure. Yep. So I think there are two pieces on this. Were one, why it made sense for us as we were launching the company in the United States, and secondly, maybe what it means about the growth of plant-based consumption in general. So again, when we were launching Oatly in the United States in late 2016, and Oatly is a Swedish company. It's been in existence for over 25 years in Europe. We've been selling oat milk across Nordic nations, the UK, for many, many years. So we're a startup in the US, but very much like kind of an established European company with still a high growth startup mentality. But coming to the US, we're like, the biggest challenge, I love these shows. I walk around, so much great innovation, so many amazing products, and people pour themselves into these products, like making them amazing, making the packaging great. How does anyone ever get to try your product, especially if you're trying to do something in a new category that doesn't exist? And so before we just jumped into what I think would kind of be the standard brand launch playbook of retail demos, sampling team, et cetera, discount, we tried to think creatively about what our go-to-market strategy would be. And so for our entire first year, we focused solely on specialty coffee shops because we had some great experience in Europe, in Stockholm and Copenhagen and London, selling Oatly into cafes because we had developed a product that had the right sort of flavor profile, it foamed well, and more cafes were getting people coming in wanting a plant-based latte, cappuccino, cortado. And so we built our entire organization around that idea. We committed to it 100%, and we started to get traction. We had 10, 15 cafes, then 30, then 40, then a couple hundred, then more. And we were really delivering a really good product for the cafe owners, the baristas, to deliver a better product experience for those guests coming in looking for that type of product. Now, that was hugely important for us because I said oat milk wasn't a thing. It was less than 0.1% of the category. And we fundamentally believe at Oatly that no one really needs brands. I don't think people trust advertising at all. I don't trust advertising. I hate being sold to. And so when, as opposed to me, an Oatly employee with an Oatly t-shirt telling you I have the greatest product ever, like you as a consumer are going to be much more inclined to believe a cool barista with a sleeve tattoo who you see every day being like, hey, we just got this oat milk in, a lot of people are liking it, do you want to try it, right? Like that from a discovery standpoint is so much more impactful than a company trying to tell you something because they're paid to do so. Like consumers don't trust that. Now, is cafes, I would tell you that's not the right strategy for everyone. I don't even know that's the right strategy for another brand trying to do it now, but thinking creatively about your go-to-market strategy, I think, and trying to cut against the grain of what every brand typically does, and honestly what our original plans were, I think can be really fruitful activity. Now, what that means for the category going forward, which we're super excited about, is we're just seeing, and we get this feedback from our cafe partners all the time, where more and more, with the elevation of products that are being available and Oatly being a part of that, more and more people are walking into specialty coffee shops and preferring and asking for an oat milk latte or an Oatly latte. And you're starting to see that shift go towards, I don't know if we're all the way to 50-50 yet, but the balance of cow's milk products versus plant-based products, especially coffee shops, is changing quite dramatically. And we view that, while there still may only be 4 feet of plant-based milks in a grocery store, or you may only have a handful of vegan cheeses in the deli set, we view those on-premise consumption occasions, restaurants that Michelle mentioned earlier, cafes, colleges, universities, as those leading indicators for where the market's going, because consumers getting experience in a high-quality process there, in an expertly brewed latte, where they like, ooh, this isn't what I thought plant-based or oat milk would taste like. And then they're more likely to buy it in grocery stores. And that starts to move the entire market. And so we feel like it's not only possible, but like will happen that there'll come a day where you have to walk into a coffee shop and specify that you want a cow's milk latte. Like we firmly believe that will happen, because the majority of people, the assumption will shift that you want a plant-based one, and that isn't like 50 years away. Like I think that's 10 years away or less. So when that happens, what are the ripple effects to the rest of the market? Like it's a really interesting thing, like thought exercise. And so it worked really well for us. We tried, it was pretty risky at the time, but I think it potentially has some implications for where the category and the market's going.
Thanks. And then, Anne, I'm just curious from a retailer perspective, do you watch, what's going on in cafes and just the food service side to kind of see what will resonate for your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at what's going on in food service and restaurants is definitely a source of trends for Kroger. We also have our own restaurants, and we have what you might have heard called grocerants. We sell a lot of prepared foods in our stores, so we're definitely keeping an eye on that. And I think you made a great point about if someone tries something new at a restaurant. I always tell my friends that's the best place to try a new vegan. Go get a Beyond Burger at a restaurant, because you might not cook it right the first time, but they will. And that's much more likely than, if they have a good experience, to send them to their local grocery store looking for that item. So we think that's great.